Hola.
Hola,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Waiting.
Yes, we're waiting for everyone to join. Can you let us know where you are?
Well, right now I'm in Berlin,
Mm-hmm.
so it's a little not too late, but late, kind of.
Late for you, yes.
Yeah, it's
Um,
already 11 o'clock. So,
yeah, here's fine. So I wanted to start maybe talking about some works. And let's just wait for everyone to join.
mm-hmm.
But let me see if I can show some of the works here. Let's just start with this one.
Great. One of
Can you
my
let us?
favorites.
Yes, yes.
Hmm. Yeah, well, actually, we can say this is one of the early ones I made when I started to work with pigment and dye the paper, basically. So I showed this piece for the first time at the Berlin Biennale. I'm in Berlin now, so coincidence. And sometimes, when I do some like works, even could be the drawings or the felt sculpture, I keep some of them. So this is one example. I keep it and I give it to my son. Actually, I give it to Salvador. So I do sometime more than have my own collection. I give it to friends or family.
Not
Sometimes.
collectors.
Yes, because I get very attached
Yeah.
to my work, and I can sometimes I cannot really coincide the idea to just let it go.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to keep it. So
Yeah.
um,
And can you let us know a little bit about the process? Because sometimes your work also is accompanied by some mural work, but also video.
yeah. Well, the drawings start in 2013 at the end of that year, and they start very simple, and it was made out of like graphite pencil, so it was very like no color, not even the paper, because I didn't really know what I was doing. Is I don't really like meant or and I never imagined I couldn't make these kind of drawings. It was completely out of my ideas, dreams, or anything. So it was a beautiful surprise, actually. And I think they kind of like saved me somehow, because I was through a lot of like complicated time, like physical issues. So before to start with the drawings, I was working for years with felt. Um, and that was a very hard labor, like practice. So now I do a lot of things, but I keep doing the felt sculpture, but it's like less intense because I do the drawings and, as you say, murals and the films. I work with Super 8 films as well, and that will be, that also has been for a very long time.
I'm gonna show you guys a video of Johanna.
Yeah, that's a Super 8 film. There are like no sounds, silent. And this was, I believe, in the 2016, if I'm not wrong, the hula hoop. So it's a beautiful story about this girl. Actually, I met her in the park. I was just walking through the park on a winter day. It was beautiful because it was completely like full of snow. And she was doing the same as you see in the video. And I have the idea before, I want to really like shoot something, a film with someone to do in the hula hoop. Because at that time I already was working with my drawings based on circles and ovals. So I want to bring the same idea in like with movements, you know. So I thought that the idea to work with the hula hoop, it was the perfect exercise actually. So I met her, it was beautiful. She was just doing this exercise practice, and I talked with her and asked if she wanted to do a film and work with me, and she was super happy and enthusiastic. And she said yes, so she went to my place and we did the film. Very like spontaneous. I mean, my films, they are like very simple in that way. Yeah, it was a beautiful experience because actually I think it was the first time I worked with somebody else in the films was my family or me, you know. So it was pretty nice to do this with somebody else.
That's a great film, and I still have that book that you gave me that time I went to see your work for the first time, and I still have a poster. It's in my room. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
So should we talk about, you're welcome, should we talk about this next work?
Mm-hmm. Well, that was last year in February. I love my exhibition. If I have the opportunity and people ask me, I always say winter. It's crazy, but I know. I love the snow. Basically, when we used to have snow. You know, now it's pretty hard. Even in New York, we don't have much. But this was in Michigan. I forget the name of the museum. Sorry.
The Broad Museum.
Thank you. With Carla,
Carla,
yes. She was the curator, and she invited me to do this show. So, well, I as a lot of things I do when I have like a solo show, I work as much as I can. It's like I do a specific, you know, site specific. So for me, it's very important to go and visit the place before, you know, I can propose an idea. Without to be physically in the space, I never really work that way. So I don't know if I can make it or not. Probably it could be a good exercise, but I have no idea yet. But so always I go and visit the place first. And after that, I can propose something. So the thing I remember like about the museum, this particular room, well, all the museums is built in more or less the same way. It doesn't have like angles, you know, like a rectal 90 degree angles. So I really love that, and I already came with the idea I can work with some of my hinges. So that was the first step, and after came this big chain, which is related. Well, that's the name of the work, actually related with myself, because it's made out of my size, you know, my body, my person. So yeah, more or less that's the way I start to, you know, like organize the space with these different industrial objects. And after I really I was already into the idea to work with the murals. And for me, the murals is not just the drawing on the wall. It was also the idea to have the possibility to collaborate with people, you know? So I really like that. And I think it's kind of like an excuse sometimes, you know, to really like be surrounded with more people. And I always ask, they don't have to be, you know, artists or any expertise and drawing on anything. Actually, I like the opposite. But yeah, there I work with like 4 or 5 students, and they was great, all of them, really nice. And it's funny to see, but even like there was art students, they always so afraid to make mistakes or like to do something wrong, you know. And I just was asking for a line, you know, to do and draw a line. And because you tell them, I don't use any rule, you know, any like instrument. So it's just your hand. It's like free hand. So it seems more complicated than anything. So I always I do the first lines, you know, quite like they can see and relax a little bit. But it's funny, I always I look at them and look at each other kind of like, is this right, you know? And
Yeah.
which I like, I enjoy that. And I like at the end, I can see they really enjoy that freedom, you know. At the beginning is kind of like scared to start, and then they really can enjoy the process. I think. I mean, I want to believe that.
Yeah. No, and it's great that you make this participatory. It's like almost making site-specific work for you, for your scale, because you always work with your own scale.
Yeah.
And can you talk a little bit more about these sculptures and the materials?
Okay, well, felt has been like my main material in my sculptures. I mean, I started working with felt in '99. It was a different kind of felt because it was the felt I found in Chile before I moved to the States. So, but also I am very, how can I say, a purist. Kind of like I really like to keep the material as a unique, you know, no combine too many things. So in this case, for me, if I work with felt, it has to be like sewing, you know. And that is the only way to sew this felt. It has to be by hand. So at the beginning was quite easy because the felt was more soft and thin. But then I really, when I found the felt that you see now, which is pretty thick, it was perfect. I mean, for sculptures. And that really bring me the possibility to work just with this pure material, you know, and whatever I built was through the material and the thread and like sewing by hand. So for years I was just doing that, and I was focused more like in industrial or like just tools, you know, instruments, mechanic things. I like the engineer part in my work. I really enjoy that, and I like to see how things work and functions because I like the history, what is behind, you know, kind of like how we create or we invent things to make our life a little more easy, you know, in that sense. So the felt thing is somehow we can say the replica of something could be a little more hard in a real life, you know. If you see the chain, it's like it's so soft, but in a real life it's something really more hard, and you know, and make like a really like hard work, you know. So yeah, it's a combine of something very much like a soft and natural material because it's 100% wool. With this versus of industrial, objects, and also these objects that are made out of like a strong or like iron, those kind of thing, metal pieces.
Yeah. And also, can you talk a little bit more about the idea around the uniforms, and when you talk about also about tools, and that we'll talk about later with the next exhibition. But are you supposed to wear these when you go into the exhibition?
Yeah, well, we didn't that in Michigan actually, but later when, at the time, it's always like when you see your work, at least that happened to me, sometimes the idea can grow and or have like an evolution, or like a next step to say. And I like that because it's like somehow you never stop to create or to imagine things, how things can work or how things can function in a different way, and all also depend where are you. So when I saw this piece finish, I saw already next step could be the people who work at the museum or the institution can wear this, clothes, garments. So when I got the invitation to work, to do the exhibition at Oxford, Modern Art Oxford this year, I already knew I want to do that. I want to, because that piece also was the beginning. I knew it's gonna grow in quantity. When I showed it the first time was like 7 garments, and at the end I did like so. And the idea was the people at the museum can wear this. So again, when I received the invitation, I went to see the space, and in that visit, I took the measurement of some of the people who work at the museum. So a lot of pieces, they was very much related, with the people who work there. And the idea, and happened, I mean, at the opening, the people was wearing the garments. So it was a really, really beautiful experience. I really liked it, because I think I see these pieces as a sculpture, and they take life, that's meant to be. So somehow this turned like, it's a living object. Yeah.
And these are some of the installation shots from the modern Oxford.
Yeah.
And can you tell us a little bit more about the story of this place, also in relation to the works that are presented?
Sure. I mean, well, I want to finish the idea with the garments. I mean, only about the garments, it's just the material. When I talk about the felt, how important is like it's a pure material, like 100% wool. It's very important to me work with like that kind of idea. And also when I started, I mean, when I came with the idea with the garments, it was like more than 10 years ago. So I didn't find the right fabric to produce them. So in one visit, I have this residency in Guatemala. I was so lucky because I met this. I went to visit a factory where they work just with pure cotton, and also they was working with more like experimental upcycling denim, and I knew right away that would be the material I want to use for my garment. So after that, I'm just working with them. I mean, they create like such a beautiful and the idea to use something into recycling things, and all what is behind that, So sometimes certain work, they take really long time to be produced, because for me it's very important the material I'm gonna use for. So, and the exhibition in Oxford, well, when I went to visit that, I think it was February, could be, I can't remember exactly, or March, something like that. So I'm super nerd. I like to also read. I knew the building has own history, I mean, from like old times. And I came very excited because it was really, I know it was built during the Industrial Revolution or around that time, you know, more or less. So, so I was super happy to have the opportunity to show my work, you know, in this kind of building. So this building was a old brewery, and I think it was built around the 1856 or something, 1850 something, if I'm not wrong, and was, or maybe later, I'm sorry, my memory. But it was a coincidence. Actually, I was also working with another factory in the south of Chile, in Concepcion, in Tomé, where they produce fabric. So, and I think they both was built in the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, so for me, those kind of things, they're like, well, this is a sign, you know, like
Yeah.
something, like I really believe on those things. So I came more like happy because also I have this idea for years to make a film in that factory. So I did the film. It was quite like a challenge to do it, but at the end came a really beautiful film, and was also part of this. I showed the film in the exhibition there, and it was projecting because it's a Super 8 film. Was projecting in a piece of fabric from that factory, from the factory in Chile. Yeah, so.
That's awesome. And these were also part of the show?
Yes, this also, yeah, has own history, of course. I was in a residency last year in France for like 2 months, a great residency. I love, it was a great experience. So I decided for the kind of like first time to dye my own felt with indigo, which I've been using for years, you know, the pigment for my drawings, more the use I give to the pigment. So I decided for the first time to dye the felt, which I knew it could be a little challenge because the felt is very thick. So I just try, you know, and it came so beautiful. I mean, was so great to do that. And because I knew I want to do these pieces, you know, the faucet. So yeah, after like I just start to try to think, I mean, what could be related with the history of the building, the museum, now a museum. So those little, like very thin pipes with the faucet, I think it's very much related also with the history of the brewery or the building. Yeah, and the where they install them is kind of like a. I'm sorry, I don't need to plug this. Yeah.
We kind of lost you for a little bit.
I'm here. You can.
Yes, yeah. Now
Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah. So, what else? Okay. So the wooden pieces where they are installed the faucet, and also you can see it in front to the chain. They are burn wood pieces, you know. And I also have this idea for a very long time, and it was great because the people who work at the museum, they were so amazing, and they say, let's do it, you know. So really like so it could be possible, and it came pretty nice. I mean, I love the pieces. I mean, the
Yeah.
sculptures are really, really great. And I like to work with also with the element of the smell, so you can still smell and feel, you know, and it gives like a own for the room, you know, you have this smell in the entire place. So it's a
And
lot of like combination of things.
yeah, no, it's amazing. And you also use the whole place, the whole space, the whole gallery.
Yeah, it was the entire gallery.
So we have more of the installation shots.
Yeah. So that, for example, the work I did at the pillars is just it came as an idea when I was there, you know, installed. I knew I'm gonna do the mural. I knew more or less where the pieces they gonna go, you know, the chains I already knew. I like to put the chains like hanging, you know, to use like as a main piece in this big like room. But the pillars, that one, yeah, I it was completely like spontaneous and a reaction I have with the space itself, you know. So because most of the murals I do now, they are like three-dimensional, and I work with thread, rope, and also I dye that myself with indigo or with beads, you know,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, that
Like
photo,
this
yeah.
one. Yeah, like this one, for example. Can you talk a little bit
Yeah,
more about this one? This is in Mexico.
yeah, this is Sala de Arte Público Siqueiros in Ciudad de Mexico, which was a beautiful, beautiful project. Was my first mural I did three-dimensional, and I really, really loved that one. So in this case, actually, I use a rope, like a PVC rope, um, and why I decide to work with that PVC rope. I mean, I never work with plastic, but I want to have something that the people can recognize. I mean, all the people, the common people. So this rope is the one they use to make these very well-known Acapulco chairs, you know. So every time when I go to Mexico, I see people working doing this chair in the street. So I saw it could be so familiar for anyone, you know, you can really recognize. And also I was thinking about the strategic, like it's gonna be outside, so probably it's gonna be rain or it's gonna be super hot. So I also have to think about it was the perfect material for doing that. I mean, if you can use that chair outside in winter and summer, so it could work perfectly. And also to keep the idea of textile, you know, because no matter, I mean, if I can think in one thing, can relate all what I do, I mean, drawings, murals, sculptures, somehow they all like relate, for me at least, with the textile.
Mm-hmm.
So to create this is also to see somehow like a wooden piece, you know.
Yes. And labor also.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. This was really beautiful. The way we made this mural, it was really like we used like very big patterns made out of paper, you know. So it was really like an old-fashioned way to draw, you know, because most of the time you can project, you know, to use a projector and you can draw on the top. But for this, it didn't work. We really like work like from old century, and I love that. It was really beautiful, all like handmade, you know, no tools, no nothing. So it came really, really beautiful. Yeah.
And was it also collaborative? Did you have other people join you?
Yeah, no, I work like not much. I mean, there was two really nice guys. They're like amazing. I mean, professionals. I don't know if they really work as an artist, but for me, they was both artists as well, you know, like I see them equal as me. We work like every day all together. Yeah, it was pretty nice. And that was the first time I also used the pastel. I want to keep work, you know, the same way I draw on paper to draw on the wall. And it's so much fun. I mean, it's not toxic. It's really it's so playful, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like that too, to be playful.
Let me see what else I can show you guys. Oh, I love this. Can you talk about this?
Yeah, well, that actually is also part of the exhibition in Oxford.
Mm-hmm.
So we decided to make this room with a lot of the drawings. Some of them was already shown at the Berlin Biennale as well in 2018. And some news, new drawing, new pieces. And the one you see on the wall, like a touch, I mean, it's also a way I like to show the drawing is I use hinges so you can move, because all the drawing they have a front and a back, or I always say they are two front, you know, I cannot tell you what is the back, even because one is more busy with the lines, you know, and the drawing itself, but the paper is dyed from both sides.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the other side is a little more quiet. Sometimes you just see the color, and also the little dots I do. I mean, you know, perforate the paper. So that was also the idea when I decided to do that on the paper, to incorporate the light, so they come three-dimensional as well, you know, because for me it's pretty hard to think about something just flat into the wall. Somehow always have to something come out, and I think it is related with the idea of the space, but also it's related with the idea with the body. You know, I work with my body. And I think we are like three-dimensional, you know, we are not flat. So whatever I do, I really imagine in that way as well. So the drawing, they also, you can walk around, and always you're gonna find something new in any of the fronts, you know. There are a lot of like details, and I use only like as I say before, circles and ovals, and I don't use any like measurement or anything. It's just everything made by hand, and I like that way because it's the way also I think about ourselves, you know, or about anything. One side is not equal to the other. Even when you see from far, we think like we're perfectly equal, but we're so different from one side to another. Even our brain, you know, the way everything is so, in that sense, no, not the same. So the drawings, some of them at the beginning, they was very symmetrical, but not perfect at all, if we can talk about perfection. So I like that freedom. I like to work with that sense of freedom, and sometimes you trick your eyes, you know, like you think it could be like, but it's not. Yeah, and it's a lot of like techniques. I mean, it's a long process to produce the drawing. Not only, I mean, the first step is to dye the paper with a lot of like, I mean, layers of, and the case when I work with indigo, there are like a lot of layers. Or if I work with other pigment, I work with beads and fustic, which is the yellow one. So sometimes I combine those, and after I have to really look at the paper and see what I want to make in that paper, you know. So I always said the paper talked to me somehow.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes happen is I don't have any idea, you know. I don't know how to start. No. And other cases it's just like I see the paper and I know exactly what is gonna go there. So after to decide or do the composition on the paper, I decide the colors with the pastel, the pencil colors I want to use on. And then it came like, you know, fractions of the drawing where I have to decide what exactly I want to draw there, like what I have to do, what the color. So it's a very like a long process, and with a lot of like thinking on, you know, and decide about colors, textures, and stuff like that. And at the end, the dots.
Mm-hmm. And this is always the way you want to install your drawings?
Well, for now, I think, yeah, I mean, I already have new ideas, which is pretty cool because, you know, I was talking with a friend the other day, sometime when you feel like you, as an artist, make like a nice, like a heat piece, you know, like a really like hot piece. And after that, you say, what else, you know, what's coming after this? And sometimes, yeah, you don't know and you have to wait. So for me now, I feel like after it was a very like a long process to create this exhibition in Oxford. I mean, I worked for a year before to, you know, to install and start to really get my hands into them. So that time you are really focused in that process. And that's what I'm saying. I mean, after you finish this kind of like large exhibition, you feel very tired, you know, and it's sometimes time to like take your time and look around and see what you are been working on, you know. So that time is very valuable too, because you can think about and probably the new idea is gonna come after that. And I feel like now, after all these months, like, you know, with a big break between, yeah, a lot of ideas came, and I'm super happy because I'm ready to start. I mean, I already start with new pieces, so I'm very excited with that.
For new shows or like any
Well,
projects?
who knows?
Yeah.
You
And
never know.
you have a show up right now still, right?
Yes, actually, yeah, I mean, kind of like forced to be that way because of the situation we are living now. So, for example, the Oxford exhibition was closed most of the time. But at the end, it was 2 weeks in August, they opened it and it was pretty good. But it's closed already. But I have one mural piece in Edinburgh. Yeah. So it's still there. It's a very nice, it's a great group show. Talbot, yeah. So it's gonna be, I think, until December, if I'm not wrong. And yeah, I made like a large mural there too. It's still on.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great that you're still producing, even though we're in a very difficult time. And in our conversation before, you said that where you are right now, you're very close to nature. So you have this like more direct relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I need that. I mean, it's at the beginning, you know, for the first 3 months, you say from March to May, I was very much working every day in new pieces. I think it wasn't a way to escape from the reality. I mean, it was what's happening in New York was so hard, you know. So always art for me, it's been like a healing, you know, process too. And so if I don't have that, it's like I cannot keep going. So basically, it's my safe in life. So I really enjoyed the first 3 months because I really have new ideas and new work and kind of like I can reflect about, and also I have time to read more. But June was a very hard month. June was like critics. But because I cannot stop to doing things, so I start to work in a different way with different materials. And that also was at the end very productive. But I need this relation with nature. And that's the thing what really killed me, because I didn't have that opportunity. I mean, not like here now, I can walk in 10 minutes to be in the forest, or like I'm surrounded by very beautiful like places, so I need that for, I need to collect things,
Mm-hmm.
I need to observe, like see things, like how nature is change with the seasons, the colors, the texture, everything. I mean, yeah. So I can really, I feel like I feel myself with this every day. And I can create also like new colors and new, like I'm doing a lot of like new things,
Like scientific experiments.
Yes, no, I love that. I mean, that's the most fun part,
Yeah.
to experiment, and I mean, it's no way you can be wrong.
Yeah.
Never to be wrong. It's always gonna be like good, it's positive. So,
Yeah.
and I use that. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to invite our viewers. If you have any questions, just write it on the comment section. But I wanted to ask you about the importance or the act of drawing for you, because it has been fundamental for many artists. But I feel that sometimes, it's not as valued as it should be. And I wanted you to comment on that.
Well, I mean, as I said at the beginning, I didn't know I couldn't really draw in this way. I did a lot of drawing, I mean, my entire life, and I do a lot of drawings about the installations, what pieces I want to do. I work a lot with watercolors as well. And I really loved that drawing, but it was very much like they was really different to these ones. So to start working with this so kind of like abstract in a way, I didn't know. I couldn't, for the reason the felt pieces, they are so like, you can recognize, I mean, they are not abstract. They are really like concrete pieces, like, exactly what they are, But this is, I think, somehow is completely like out of like magic in a sense, and is I like to think that way because something, for example, this could be some like and a good example. Yesterday, I think I'm start for the first time after months to do this new pigment, and I came very emotional, just to see the color. Is undescribable. I mean, I cannot tell what exactly happened, but it brings me so much life and so much like energy and the feeling that I really want to draw and create more. So I think that energy is always reflected in the drawings somehow, you know. And the energy sometimes could be, you know, you can feel happy, or sometimes you are not, you could be in a very sad time too. And even that energy is helped me to do these drawings. So the drawings also have its own like history behind. I mean, I'm the one I know. The state of mind or emotional, how I feel when I create certain drawings, you know. And I think this is, that's also, I think that's the idea why I decide to title the drawings with the date when I started drawing and when I finish and where I produce the drawing, because sometimes it could be in New York or I can be in another place.
Let's go back to Salvador's piece.
Yeah. It's somehow like a diary, you know. So
it's
that,
beautiful.
Yeah, that is really like, yeah, kind of like a beautiful sense. Where are you in that time? How are you in that time?
Like a diary.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah.
But I don't know if we have more time. I don't want Instagram to cut us off. This is my first time ever doing a live also.
Sure. Yeah, for me too.
Yeah, I know. I know. I feel very honored to do it with you also.
No, this is great because you know my work from before, so
yeah. No, and I'm a big fan of your work. So are there any like closing words you want to share with everyone? Or there's Gaby, mira, Gaby está ahí.
Hola.
Y Mónica.
Genial. No, I mean, I'm happy here now. I think it is, of course, I didn't want to mention the time where we are living, but of course, you know, we are all like in this weird, complicated, emotional times. It's mixed with, you know, so many unsecure feelings, so you know you don't know what is going to happen next, or why you are really, I mean, a lot of time I think like, why am I doing this? where I'm going to go with this, you know. And I really am going to have the chance to work with people again, you know, like the mural pieces, for example, which I love. And I hope that really can happen. I mean, with 1.5 meters apart, we can still do murals wearing the mask, I guess. But no, I mean, I really hope we can keep somehow the institutions, you know. I know the institutions suffer a lot of them. It's complicated to keep they alive, and the people who work there, you know, as you, I mean, the people I know, they're my friends too, and they're like hard times now. But I'm so happy to see they're like, we are trying to do our best, you know, as an artist, as a curator, you know. So I really appreciate that effort. I mean, to do this, you know, it's gonna be, of course, different, but it still is beautiful to think we can do it. I mean, it can happen, you know. So I keep my hope high, I guess, you know. I try to do that. I want to do that, of course.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Johanna. Te mando un super abrazo.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Y espero verte pronto. Se supone que yo iba a Berlín también este año, pero no pasó.
Bueno, aquí te estamos esperando.
Sí, dale, un super abrazo.
Un beso y muchas gracias por la invitación y suerte con todo.
Gracias. Chao.
Chao, bye.